This was inspection day, a few days before we had the keys, and it looked as if they'd put some soil on the top to make possible to create a garden. When we discovered how much it was going to cost to have somebody to come in to landscape it for us, we decided that we would do it ourselves. And we decided to split the garden into 3 sections, from the back of the house down to the back of the garden, which is a distance of around 16 metres and something like about 14 metres wide at the bottom section. Intention was here to mark out to have a patio section where we would catch the sun, but because of the way that the garden went down towards the back, we abandoned that idea eventually, as you will see. Took a lot of raking over and cleaning the soil to get all of the rubbish and stone and everything else that had been left in there. There had been an old tree which we'd requested that they got rid of, and when we began to work we discovered that all they'd done is buried most of the rubbish under the soil, so we had a lot of old branches and that to take away as well. So this is what we eventually abandoned, this little section here, which would eventually become part of the lawn. We had a lot of rain, and later in the winter a lot of snow as well. So the ground was just wet, wet and wet. Here we are getting it ready to put our own lawn down, and at the back on the left I've put some stone down, some paving, ready to put a shed on there which was on order, but again because of COVID, a shortage of material, was a long waiting time for that to arrive. Every time we went to the builder's merchant to buy new material, it had gone up compared to the time that we picked up stuff before. We eventually got the builders who were still working on the site to bring a skip and drop it by for us to put all of the rubbish in. Here we are, I've made a few flower beds and already I've got some flowers in them to try to brighten it up a bit. This was a patch that we got ready, which was going to be our vegetable patch, but the soil has got a lot of clay in it. So over time I've had to just keep putting other stuff in there to make it easier to work. You can see the dip from the left to the right. Here we're going to put a trellis, but again we couldn't get a trellis from anywhere. There was a shortage, so eventually bought some wood to make our own trellis. Here is with the lawn laid. We ordered the turf and it rained and rained and it came sodden and it was very heavy to carry, and we laboured for a whole day getting it laid, even though it was so wet and messy. We bought some fruit trees which we've planted here, planted them close together, and the reason being that because there was so much wet and so much rain, we thought that in the future they would help with the drainage eventually, with them absorbing some of the water. So 2 cherry trees plum, an apple and a pear. We laid some sheet down at the back, and eventually you'll see what we decided to do in that section to make it easier to maintain. Here I've redug the section for the vegetable garden again. Here I started to work on the back and some timber there to make the trellis, or to complete the trellis. We decided to make some diamond shapes and to fill them with bark, and then the rest of the area around there we would fill with stone and do some planting, and so planted a lot of rose bushes there and some other plants as well. Trellis is finished, so some paint going on there to help preserve it and keep it. Slabs are there just to keep the sheeting down until we eventually get the stone put on there. See by the puddle at the bottom right how wet it was again, making it harder to work all the time. The bag of stone came, and they just decided to tip it off the back of a wagon, and that's how it landed, making it hard to get it out of the bag and to carry down to the bottom of the garden, just using buckets or small bags. But eventually we finished. There it is, just about completed. The lawn is greening up. It's taken well. Shed finally arrived, so started early one morning. Got it put together and painted by the middle of the day. And a little patch of grass on the right hand side was eventually going to become an area space for a greenhouse. Had to make some gates as well, so in between, busy making a gate to put to the side where the garage is. And later I would put some fencing and a gate on the other side with the next door neighbour as well. So here I've got some sheeting down. We're going to have a conservatory put on the right hand side. We had to battle to get permission for a conservatory because of the covenants on the builder's site, and then to the left where the sheeting is down we would eventually be doing a patio. Snow on the ground. We had a lot of snow that winter, that first winter. Is the site ready for the greenhouse? The builders have come. This is the only thing we didn't do ourselves, so they've come to do the footings for the greenhouse, but they've had to abandon. With the rain and with the snow, they just couldn't carry on. Till eventually they started to do the foundations and the footings. Then the walls started to go up. Brick matching the same as the house. Here I am doing the base, so getting ready for the greenhouse. I'm building the greenhouse up in the garage because it's small enough to do there. And then it's finished, and a neighbour kindly helped me carry it around, and I fixed it down on the base. So by the end of February, this is how far we'd got with the garden. Both of us doing whatever we could when the weather allowed us to get out there to work. Time to dig it over again, still finding branches, as you can see in the pile on the left. The more we dig, the more we found. I went to a local farmer and managed to get some bags of manure, which I've already dug some in, and I've put some more on top now, ready to dig in again. The window frames going in on the conservatory. The roof getting ready to go on. And there it is, completed. bulbs are through. Crocuses, daffodils, and eventually my favourites, the tulips. You'll see that I got a bird feeder there. I like to feed the birds, and we have had such an amazing variety of birds visit the garden over the 4 years that we've now been in this property. Well, 3.5 at the moment. We've already had some blue tits nest in a box, and the chicks have come from there. On the left is where I've put another gate and some additional fencing where we can store the bins. Now it's time to do the patio, so we had some bricks left over from the conservatory, so I decided, I've never done it before, but I'd have a go at building a retaining wall. Getting the vegetable garden going a little bit, some strawberries planted. Still a lot of breaking up to do. Tulips are beginning to come out now. There's a view from the drone of what the garden looked like at that time. So I put the concrete down for the foundation for the retaining wall. Again, you can see it's so wet. And now I'm having my first attempt ever at doing some brickwork. Elaine was busy carrying the bricks to me. Some more of the tulips. As you can see, the lawn is taken well. And the wall is coming on. Plenty of seeds in the greenhouse that have planted and are starting to grow. One of my favourite views of the garden when the flowers are all out. There's the wall nearly finished. Lots of stone gone down now to get it level, ready to put the patio stones down. and starting to lay the patio. Another first attempt for us, never done it before. And there it is, complete. It's hard work, but we're really pleased with the way it's all turned out. Vegetables starting to come through. Cabbage, peas, runner beans, broad beans, potatoes. Rhubarb in the back corner, my favourite. Lots of birds coming in the garden, so just here are a few pictures. Goldfinches, we have chaffinches, greenfinches, woodpecker, sparrows. Altogether we've had over 20 different species come into the garden. Photography is my hobby, so it's nice for me to have them coming into the garden to take photos of. This will eventually be a display of sweet peas. And again you can see the gardens coming on. Despite it not being very good soil. There's the sweet peas beginning to come out. And we're just coming up to a year since we picked up the keys.